Welcome everybody back to the Digital Nomad Sessions. My name is Mitch Atza and I'm really excited with today's guest. We're going to learn a lot about physical product businesses. So welcome Alison J. Prince. Thanks for joining us.
Woo-hoo! I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely. And I'm excited to talk to you. And before we do dive into the topic, let me just share a little bit about Alison and some of the things that she's accomplished, because I think today is going to be a super valuable talk and everyone's going to want to know these things. So Alison went from a junior high science teacher to building 4 multi-million-dollar online businesses with 4 kids at her feet. Incredible feat just doing that. She's been featured in Forbes and on the cover of Costco Connection, but she feels her most successful business choice was teaching her 10 and 13-year-old daughters how to sell over $100,000 in products in just 9 months. She watched them gain confidence, embrace entrepreneurship, and begin to live what she terms the because I can life. So while continuing to run her companies, Alison is also committed to helping others achieve financial goals. Through her successful 0 to 100K system, she now teaches thousands of people how to create, launch, and grow profitable e-commerce businesses. And members of the Because I Can appreciate her authentic, down-to-earth approach to business and life, along with her constant encouragement that they have the ability to do whatever they put their minds to. Why? Because they can.
They can.
And today's topic, we're going to be talking about building an online store with physical products and launching with massive success. So I guess, Alison, the first place to start is maybe share with us a little bit of inspiration. You know, how have these businesses actually affected your life positively? And yeah, maybe just take it away and give us a little bit of inspiration to get us started.
Well, I think what happened was when I became a junior high teacher, I spent 4 years studying math and science, giving it my all, getting to the classroom early, staying late, making sure that I taught these kids the best I possibly could, right? And then when they handed me my first paycheck and said I qualified for government assistance, it was like a big slap in the face because when I grew up, I was told that you have to go to college to get financial security. And here I am, being my first professional paycheck, and they're telling me that I can't even buy my own food. That doesn't quite equate to financial security. And I know teachers weren't like bajillionaires, right? But I thought I could buy my own food. So that was just super frustrating. So I started going to the libraries because I couldn't afford books. I couldn't afford a cell phone. There's no way. So I went and got library books and magazines, and I would just read and read and read, and found that entrepreneurism is a way for people to make money. And so I studied it a little bit more, but by then I had 2 babies, like infants. And so like setting up a brick and mortar store, that's not going to work for me, right? I needed to be able to create something where my husband was still in school. I knew we were going to move. And so I needed something that I could move around with. And so the online space started coming to be, and that interested me. And so I hopped into starting a blog with some friends. And that's still up and running, 10 years old. We're kind of excited about that. But in the beginning of blogging, you don't make money, right? You just work 80 hours a day and you make a penny by the end of the first year. And so I wanted to figure out how to create income. And with a blog, we were sending people away to buy stuff. And I was like, why are we not sending people to me to buy stuff? So I decided to start my first e-commerce store, but still didn't have money. So I looked around my makeshift office, found this leftover crafting supply called vinyl. Do you know what vinyl is?
Yep, sure do.
Okay. Some people are like a record? No. It's like black sticky paper that you cut out letters, you can stick on a wall or whatever. I didn't even have a cutter, so I just cut it into sheets, put it up online, and we sold out. And I was like, my gosh, this is magical. And I was doing this while holding an infant, changing my toddler's diaper, right? And I didn't even like have makeup on or get ready for the day. And I was like, I made money. I found it. But then the realization of, oh shoot, I need to find another product for tomorrow came in. So anyways, second, third day didn't sell, almost walked away from it because I'm like, I just got lucky with that first sell. But then had this feeling to just keep trying again. So the 4th day we sold out, and I realized that entrepreneurism, it was a roller coaster ride. And I had to decide at that moment if I was going to get in the front seat or if I was just going to stand on the line. I don't like to just watch. I don't like to wander. I want to know the experience, right? So jumped in, got in the front row, and by the first year, we ended up building it to $1 million business. And this is like, I don't have any experience importing. I'm still to this day, I've never taken an official online college business class. I just know that I showed up every day and put products out into the world. Offer, 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 right? Some bombed so bad, but then others knocked it out of the park. And I think that's why I'm so addicted to business building, is because I love that rush of hitting it out of the park. Yeah, it's hard when we strike out. It is, but everybody strikes out. It's hitting those home runs that make you come back for it over and over again.
Yeah, 100%. It's such an important lesson to have, and something that I think every entrepreneur goes through at some point, especially when you're getting started. Like I actually started a blog. That was my first part of my journey as well, about 5 years ago now, 6 years ago. So it's interesting how, I think it's the people who just get started without sort of knowing the direction and then just continue to show up each day that are the ones that ultimately do get the life that they live, that they want to live. So yeah, that's really cool. And maybe before we do jump into a little bit more about today's topic, can you share maybe like a 5-minute overview of, or maybe less, of your 2 daughters as well? I'm really interested in, how they were able to be part of that with you on their journey and how you supported them through that.
Totally. So it goes back to, I didn't have a choice. It was only college, right? Go to college. That's it. So my husband and I, we were like, we need to show our children that there's other choices. So it was some random Saturday. They were teenagers, 10 and 13, and just sleeping in. Do you have children?
No, not yet.
No. Okay. Well, when you get children, if you ever do, like, there's a stage in their life where they just don't get out of bed. They just want to stay in bed forever, and you're just like, oh, Wazzy. You love them, but you're just trying to get them out of bed, right? So we actually went to them and said, okay, it's Saturday, it's 10, maybe it was noon, I don't remember. I'm like, you gotta be productive citizens. So we're gonna give you 3 choices. Number 1, you can move out of the house. Number 2, we're gonna give you more chores. Or number 3, you're gonna start a business. And of course, we thought about that, right? We knew they were gonna start a business, because what kid wants to do chores? And they knew that they couldn't go move out of the house, right? So I gave them the framework of running their business, and they were nervous. They were scared. They had self-doubts, just like every entrepreneur, right? And I just had to help them with their brain space. And this is normal. This is normal for you to feel this way. Just keep going. You know the plan. Just keep going. And so they launched their business, and within 9 months, they sold over $100,000. This was before they even set foot in a high school. Now, at this point, this is when I have a lot of people say, well, Alison, you probably just help them. Well, at this point in my journey, I was on my 3rd multi-million-dollar business, so I could not help them. I didn't have time. When I was with them, I wanted to find out about them, right? Yeah, I'd ask them a few things about how their business was doing, but this was on them. They did it. They were excited about it. They saw the value of money. We compared it to babysitting hours, and they were like, oh, I don't know if I want to babysit again, which they do because they love kids, but they started learning the value of money, and how kids 10 and 13, they work Tuesday nights and Saturday mornings. They were able to make hundreds of dollars an hour, while their friends they couldn't even get a job, right? They're asking their mom or shoveling the neighbor's sidewalk for $5. So they got to see the experience. They got to experience the entrepreneurism world. And so that was fun. And it's been fun watching them in their journey, and just how they're becoming more confident. They became more confident in this because they got to learn to trust their own judgments. They got to move forward. So it's been fun watching them grow over the last few years, and watching some of their decisions that they make.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really amazing lesson to learn. Like, those types of things I was not even thinking about by the time I was 21, let alone 10 and
Right.
13. So yeah, that's really cool. And I guess the reason why I wanted to touch on that is for anyone at home who feels like they're really early in their journey and just getting started. Like, as soon as you find the right mentor like yourself, Alison, or the right system to follow, it's really just about showing up every day. And sure, you're going to make some mistakes along the way, you're going to make some bad decisions, but the more that you
That
continue
was
to
my
work on
husband.
that.
He
That's
didn't
all
know
right.
we were in a podcast.
All good. And yeah, the more that you continue up and make those decisions, the better you're going to get over the long term. So I guess now's probably no better time than ever to talk a little bit about today's topic, which is, building an online store of physical products and launching with massive success. What are some of the first few things that we need to start thinking about for everyone at home right now who's interested in getting started?
Okay, so one of the reasons why I absolutely love e-commerce, it's because naturally I'm an introvert. I got to hide behind my computer for 8 years with baby spit up on me, my hair all over the place, right? And then when my girls started, they didn't have to be the face of the company. They didn't have to have huge social media accounts. I didn't want to give my daughters social media accounts at age 10 and 13. Like they were still learning how to put on deodorant and figuring out what zits were, right? They were not ready. And my daughters were just not ready for the social part of running a business. And so being able to run a business without having to be the face of your company, where yeah, your product may fail, but you don't feel like a failure, right? Versus I know like over the last few years I've been teaching, and it's been a real mental shift for me when people are attacking me. And you probably get it. Like social media is just mean, right? And they're like, your eyebrows are crooked. I'm like, really? Yeah, who cares? But being able to almost not hide behind your product, but an extra layer, I felt I could build the confidence with me personally because I am an introvert by nature. And then my girls, I was able to build that. So I think that's the first thing. Like one of the things I absolutely love about e-commerce, especially for newbies, for new people who are just starting out and trying to figure out how to write copy, trying to figure out how to price their products, take photography, get traffic. E-commerce is just amazing, right? And then the second thing is where I think people get stuck is they think they have to come up with a brilliant brand new Shark Tank idea of, oh, I got to create this amazing product and invest tens of thousands of dollars to get prototypes and get it shipped here. And then I'm sitting on all this inventory. No, no. One of the products when I first started, I went back behind my shed where we were living at the time, and I pulled out this long stick and I cut it down into blocks of wood. And I got a handful of sets, put them up online, and we sold out instantly. And so I called around to see if we could find a local wood person to help me get these blocks of wood, relisted them, and within 24 hours, we sold $9,000. And I didn't even have the product yet. It was a block of wood. Like there was nothing on it. It was just a block, just a little 1.5 by 1.5 block of wood. And so when people come to me and they're like, Alison, I need to think of this new idea. I'm like, please don't. That's going to take you too long. Please don't. I sold cupcake liners, like cupcake liners, and have done over $20,000 in a day of cupcake liners. Like everybody sells cupcake liners. Just go look on Amazon, right? There's just a strategy behind doing it and setting it up the correct way. You never sell the product. You always talk about what the product does for you. So the blocks of wood, I didn't sell blocks of wood. I talked about the experience when you had a mom sit down with her children and glue faces of their kids to the block to create like a puzzle, like a set of 9, and then wrap a big bow around it and give it to grandma for Mother's Day. And people were like, oh, that would be so fun to do. Or how you can create wooden ornaments and hang them on your tree and watch your kids grow from year to year. That's what I would talk about. Or when cupcake wars were blown out, that's when I sold cupcake liners. It's not trademarked. It's not copywriting, right? It's not copying. It's finding what's selling, finding the trends, and then just riding that bandwagon. My girls sold scarves. Scarves. Like there's nothing fancy about a woman's scarf. They've been selling for how many bajillion years, right? They just saw the trend and they wrote it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I one thing that comes up for me right now is I think when a lot of people are getting started in business, they get the feeling that they need to be building something that fits in with their lifestyle. So it's like, if I like, I'm trying to look at something that I've got here to help make this sense. Like if I've got these Apple iPods, which obviously you can't resell Apple, but let's say you've got a version of your own. These are like my passion project, right? These are the things that I want to get out there into the world. But what I'm hearing you saying is it actually doesn't matter what the product is. It's more about the business, and it's more about, looking for the right products that have the right margin, and then you can become successful in that way.
Totally. Like watch Shark Tank. See how many people fell and spend like their whole life savings on an idea that they've never even tested. Why not just sell what other people are already buying, right? Like it takes out all the complication. It takes out all the frustration. It takes out so much of the risk if you're selling what other people are selling. But the key to that is you don't copy. Like do not copy. It's getting the trend. So for instance, a few years ago, I saw that flower print was trending, like on dresses and clothing. And so we took that flower print, we put it on hats, we put it on notebooks, we put it on cupcake liners. And that was the trend. And we sold a lot of them. There's been times where long skirts, the maxi skirt, have been the trend. So we went and we made a maxi skirt. It's not copying, it's finding the trend of what people are already buying.
Such an important lesson. So, okay, let's say that we've found a trend and we sort of know the products that we do want to sell. What are some of your tips in terms of finding those products and starting to, figure out where we can actually get them in order to sell?
Oh, there's so many places. It's so great. When I first started, I had to go to China because I didn't know how to do it. And there's websites called AliExpress and Alibaba, and they were really confusing. And so I jumped on a plane to China with my best friend who told me that she didn't want to go 3 times. She's like, I'm not going. I'm like, you're going. My husband's like, you're going to China? I'm like, I think I should go to China. And they're like, where are you going? I'm like, I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get there. Entrepreneurs, we just run, right? And then we just figure out the pieces later on. And so over the years, I have built a little black book of manufacturers of people that I can go and talk to. But it really is about when you go out there trying to find something similar. So maybe you start with wholesalers. I know in the beginning we used a lot of wholesalers, kind of the middleman that we could get here in the States that would ship very quickly. And then as we started to grow and started to get some money to be able to order more unique branded products, then that's when we started to go over to China. So in the beginning, I would start looking for wholesalers, the middlemen that are going to allow you to buy less quantity to be able to test your product. That's what the girls did. They found a place over in California. They bought $200 worth of scarves just to test the product. Once they figured out that the scarves were selling, then they did another few things to get the money to be able to afford the order from China. And so at first their margins weren't as good, but then I think they paid $2.99 or $3.99 per scarf. And then when they started going over to China, they got them for 50 cents a scarf. So that's when their margins went up. So at first your margins might be like the greatest, but you don't let that be okay, because it builds the confidence that you know you can sell the product. So when you're writing bigger checks over to China, wherever it is in your world, right? Up, down, northeast, south, whatever it is, that you have the confidence that this product is going to sell and you're not gambling. Like just writing, hoping that products sell, that's too big of a gamble. Test your products first, make sure that they sell, make sure that your customers want them, then you can start working on your margins.
Absolutely. It's a valuable tip for any business, is like you want to minimize that risk up front as much as possible to test your product, to see if it's, if you've got a good product to market fit, and if people are going to be buying for the price that you're selling. So yeah, that's really cool. Okay. So let's say we've found that product or that manufacturer that we're going to be working with. What do we need to be thinking about next in terms of like starting to show that and show people that we have this product and getting that out to them?
Okay, so you have to get an online cash register, right? Like when you go into Walmart and buy products, if there's a whole bunch of products there, but there's no cash register, it's kind of frustrating, right? So it's kind of like when you're on Pinterest or you're on Facebook and they're showing you these amazing products, but there's no place to give someone the money to. So you've got to be able to create a cash register. And there's a few platforms online that can do that. My favorite is Shopify for newbies. And then more experienced, you can go on to something called ClickFunnels. But that's like your online cash register that stays up for you 24/7. There, it can act like the salespeople on the floor. It can act like the person taking the money and the greeter, the bagger. Like it acts for, it does so many things for you. And you can get a Shopify account for like $30 a month. When I started my first e-commerce store, I didn't know about Shopify. I don't even think Shopify knew about Shopify yet. Like they were just trying to figure, I didn't know about them. They were new. Anyway, so I had a friend help me build my own shopping platform, which cost a lot of money over the years. At the first, we just jimmy rigged it and like duct tape it together, right? And then when we got more money, we put more money into it. But if I had to do it again, which I still have online stores today because I love them, I just use Shopify. It makes it so much easier. So it really is about getting the systems that work for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, while you do what you do, right? Whether it's go to school, whether it's go to the beach or sit at the doctor's, right? Like if you can automate your system, and show up, let your system show up for you every day because you're a human. No human can show up 24 hours, 7 days a week. We need sleep. We need to eat, right? Let your system show up for you.
Yeah, 100%. And that was probably leads into my next question a little bit as well, because the people we're speaking to right now at home are either digital nomads or aspiring digital nomads. So I think for most of us, it's more about building a business that supports our lifestyle so we can get out there and adventure. And, whether you're driving around in a van like me or traveling the world by a plane every single month. So yeah, we don't want to be doing that every single day, and we don't want to be, greeting every customer and doing those things. So another question that I had was, you talked a little bit before about you finding stuff around the house and then shipping that out. What advice do you have for people like us who want to be spending most of their time out on the road or around the world and shipping those products?
So, you know how we all make mistakes in our businesses?
Yes.
I tell people don't ship now. I already made that mistake. You don't have to ship. There's some people that are like, no, I want to learn the process of it. I want to keep it in house. That's fine. I still support them. I still show them how to do that. But think about the job of someone that ships. They don't necessarily have to have like a PhD or anything like that. It's like a 10 to 15 hour job, dollar an hour job, right? Depending on where you live, you can hire the neighbor kids for 10 to 15 bucks an hour. I don't want to work for 10 to 15 bucks an hour. I want to go for the thousands of dollars per hour. So if I'm doing the 10 to 15 an hour job, that doesn't give me time to go out and do the $1,000 per hour jobs. So there are places that can ship for you. You get the sample, you touch it, you fill it, you make sure it's good quality, because the last thing you want to sell is junk, right? So Mitch, we could ship a product to you, or your manufacturers can ship a sample to you, you touch it, you're like, this is amazing, you love it. Then you say, okay, don't ship me the order. I want you to ship it to either a 3PL or there's companies that's their whole job is you ship the products to them and they get it out the door for you. You don't have to ship it. You're not doing the 10 to 15 hour per hour job. You're out there marketing, you're out there selling, you're out there creating those relationships for you to be able to grow your business and growing that confidence with your customers. That's where your effort and energy should be. So if you are a nomad, yes, it's going to force you to not have to ship, because please don't ship. You're the entrepreneur. You should be getting paid the big bucks. You're the one that's going out there, doing the things, risking the things, being so incredibly scared, right? And getting into this uncomfortable zone where if you just show up to where someone tells you how to put a t-shirt in an envelope to ship out, that's totally different, right? So don't ship. That's long story short. Don't ship.
I love that. It's perfect. Okay, so we're not going to ship. We've got our store set up. And we're about to launch now with massive success. So, do you have a few tips for us around that stage of the process?
Yeah. So now, and how I relate this is to, let's say you're about to throw a party. Let's say Mitch is throwing a party in you said a bus, RV, what is it?
Yeah, I call it my van.
Your van. Okay.
Yeah.
Mitch is going to throw the most amazing party in his van. You've got, you've got the streamers. They're just the most amazing streamers, and they match the party plates and they match the color of the punch, right? And it's all put together and it's beautiful. That's like your online store, right? It's all together, it's pretty, it's amazing. You've got the product, you've got the cake, you are ready to go. You open it up and nobody's there and you're completely frustrated. It's because, Mitch, you didn't send out the invitations. You have to send out the invitations for people to come to your party. And this is where Kevin Costner screwed us all up when he said in Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. They do not come. No way. Kevin Costner is in huge trouble for screwing up everybody's brain about thinking it, if we build it, they will come. They don't. You have to send out the invites, right? And how do we send out the invites now in today's world? Social media. Email. And the next question is, well, Alison, I don't have a social media account. Awesome. I didn't either when I got started, and my girls didn't either. So I leveraged people that did have social media accounts, right? And I said, hey, I'll pay you if you talk about my product. So let's say Taylor Swift gets up on stage and she stops and she's like, you guys, look at my earrings. They're so amazing. What's everybody going to do? They're going to buy the earrings, right? Taylor Swift didn't make them, but she's going to make money. Her customers are going to be super happy and the business owner is going to be super happy. And so you go find the Taylor Swifts of the world, and I do the Taylor Swifts in quotes, but I don't recommend going after the super famous people. I actually look for like mini Taylor Swifts, and I call them micro influencers. So anyone between 10,000 to 100,000 seem to be my sweet spot of getting my products into their hand for them to consume my product in front of their customers, which help drive customers to my store. So my influencers that I use on social media is the way of me sending out party invitations.
Such a good way to do it as well. Can you give us like a 60-second preview of the strategy behind that? Like, are you sending them a direct message and saying, hey, this is the product? What, are you asking them what their price is, or are you proposing a price that you'll pay them, or do you care to share?
Yeah, so I love talking about this stuff. Oh, I swear I'm a dork. I can't cook, I can't bake, but give me business and we talk about it for hours. Okay, so when you move into, or someone moves into your neighborhood, right? And you want to get to know them. You don't go over to their house, open their door, bust in, and start saying, hey, where's the milk? Do you have any cookies here? You're going to get a restraining order, right? And it's the same thing with people in social media. If you go start barking demands to them and saying, hey, sell my products for me. Hey, come on, sell products for me. They are going to block you. And blocking is a lot easier than getting a restraining order on social media, right? And so what's like the human thing that you would do? You would go knock on their door. You'd wait for them to open the door. Then you're going to give them a hot plate of cookies. Or if you don't bake like me, you're going to say, hey, I saw the moving van. Can I help you? What can I do to help lighten your load? Then guess what they're doing next week? They're inviting you over for dinner. And then you're creating these relationships. And so it's just like it is on social media. To get into their world, help solve one of their problems. And if your product is, I don't know, like a pair of earrings, think about how that problem or how that product can solve their problem. Maybe it's their organic cleaning. They love organic cleaning. So you say, hey, I know you talk about this article on organic cleaning, and these products will actually do clean jewelry really, really well. So let me know if you want to add an affiliate link in something that you've already done so that you can make money off this post. You've put so much energy and effort into this. I just think you should be paid, right? So you're helping the influencer. You're helping them influence even better with your products that you're selling. And it's really about creating those relationships. And you're going to get a lot of influencers that tell you no, that ignore you. That's okay. That's never stopped me. That's never stopped you, right? The word no, it's just like next opportunity. You don't listen to it. You're like, okay, next, next, next. You just keep going. You just ignore the no's and you just keep moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the beauty of the internet and social media, is that there's always another influencer that you can approach, and there's literally thousands out there. So I think that's something that a lot of people maybe get caught up on, is hearing the word no for the first few times, and it can be a little bit disheartening. But I guess the more that you do it, the bigger the brand that you build, the more relationships you build, the more, and then therefore you build a lot more credibility as well, which makes it easier. But you've got to get started.
Totally. Yes. 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 Yes.
Awesome. So influencer marketing is working really well for you. Are you doing anything else at the moment, like Facebook ads or other traffic sources?
So I've done e-commerce for either affiliate through the blog, which is totally separate. Oh, some people think that I use the blog to help grow my e-commerce businesses. I didn't. I kept it totally separate because I had business partners and didn't want to step on. I wanted to respect them. And anyway, so all my e-commerce life has been 100% organic. I think I tried $100 in Facebook ads and lost it within seconds, right? I didn't need, and I still don't use Facebook ads for e-commerce. Maybe I'll test them out, but I've done really well with influencers. I think we did, it was around 30,000 in sales. It was the week. Yeah, it was last week. It wasn't during cyber. It was right after cyber. We did 30,000 in sales in 2 days, which is, I don't know, as much as I made as a school teacher, maybe a little more, right? In 2 days. And so I like paying influencers money because I know how hard they work. I am an influencer on my blog. I know how hard they work. So I would much rather pay an influencer money than give more money to Mark Zuckerberg. Now, on the flip end, my education, that's a different story. I have to educate. And so I do spend money on my Facebook ads for my online education. That's a different ballgame. It just depends what category you're in, what vehicle, online vehicle. And with e-commerce, I haven't had to use Facebook ads yet.
Yeah, for sure. And it makes sense as well, someone else explaining the product rather than seeing an ad that explains the product. You're definitely going to trust them a lot more than an ad, I would think, at this stage.
Totally. And their followers love them, right? I mean, they're holding up a pen that's like any other pen you can get anywhere. And they're like, you got to get this pen. Oh my gosh. And they're writing with it. And then everybody's like, I got to get that pen, right? It's because they've been following them for years and they trust them. And so you're selling to a warm audience. You're not going cold audience like on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't have to deal with all of the implications that come with running Facebook ads like I've had to in the last 4 weeks. So we'll move on from that.
Their ads been like insane.
Yeah. Is there anything else that we've not talked about that we need to know during this process?
Probably, but we will both remember when we hang up. Isn't that how it always works? No, I don't have anything.
Okay, perfect. And what I'm really love to touch on just briefly as well before we do finish up is some of the common mistakes, or maybe the number one common mistake that you see when people are starting this journey of like trying to build an e-commerce business and getting their brand out there. What would you say that would be?
Wait, say that one more time. What's the what?
So either the number one biggest mistake, or if there's a couple that come to mind, what would you say?
The biggest mistake, I think, is listening to your insecurities. Because I believe, and I don't know what religion people are on this, so I believe Satan or the dark or whoever you believe in that brings the dark into the world, when you are about to go change your life, Satan comes in and he's trying to keep you stuck. He doesn't want you to improve your life, right? He wants you to fail and be miserable. And so he's putting in extra self-doubt and fear and insecurities that you're like, where did that come from? I've never even thought about that, right? Then if you have a product that's actually going to change someone's life, I swear he brings in his minions to take you down. And like I said, if you don't believe in Satan, it's the dark. The dark comes in and clouds your mind and it almost paralyzes you. So as soon as you can realize what is happening, like I know whenever I go out with a new product, I feel it and I recognize it and my family can see it. And they're like, Alison, this product's going to change lives, right? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, okay, remember. And I'm like, oh yeah. And so I literally, like my husband has helped me through this process a ton. I'll just go hug him and I'm like, I need you to hold this for me because I know this is about to go change lives. Whether it's cupcake liners to creating a course of, helping people become financially stable, it's so scary. And sometimes if you can just visualize in your head, hey, babe, can you just hold all this fear, anxiety, stress, overwhelm, all the stuff that keeps coming in my head that I don't even know where it's coming from right now, but I need to go launch this product. So he holds it for me so I'm able to step into the person that God wants me, that God needs me to be able to help other people know that there's hope left for them, that they can do this. Like I am a mom of 4 and a junior high teacher who most days of the week, I don't even put my makeup on, right? If I can do this, I know other people can do it too. But the mistake that I see most people falling into are their thoughts, the thoughts that they're making up, that Satan is somehow getting in our heads and they're following that versus following the light, the hope, and the glitter, or whatever you call it, that God's trying to give us to help us to improve our lives. So that's it.
Yeah, beautifully said, and such an important lesson for people to learn about. So, Alison, I just want to thank you for joining us and taking the time to share your massive wealth of knowledge around this topic today. I know that a lot of people would get a lot from this talk, and hopefully people will going to start taking action if that is what you're feeling to do right now. The best thing that you can do is start to take action on what you're learning. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who want to continue the conversation with you. So where can they go to do that?
So you can find me on social media at Alison, Alison J Prince on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. And then I've also, this has been really popular, is I created a PDF with 16 of the products. I don't know, a lot of people are surprised at these 16 products. These were some of the items that helped me to get to my first $1 million in sales. And a lot of people are like, are you serious? And so if you go to AlisonJPrince.com/gift, GIFT, I want to give you guys the gift of listening with this PDF that just might inspire you to find something simple and then turn it into cash.
Absolutely. That's amazing. And I'll link that up down below for everyone to click through to as well. So once again, Alison, thanks so much for joining us here today, and hopefully we'll catch up again soon.
Thank you.